we back? Are we back? Are we back? Well, I'm back. Akpos was here, gonna be here sooner or
I'm
later.
here.
He's here in the background. He's here in spirit. He's here in soul. He doesn't want to even face the public with all the speculation of Arsenal going to sign this, that, all of the above. Arsenal, you know what they're doing? They're going into a store, right? They're going into a jewelry store right now, yeah? And they're going in there looking all flash, dressed real nice to the night. The whole lot, you know, it's nice suit, nice watch, nice hair, the whole thing going on, yeah? Now listen to this. Now they're going window shopping. Window shopping, they're saying, can I have a look at that? 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 Now, at the end of the day, these jewelers starting to get the shits and wondering if we got any money to spend. And we're all wondering right now. We're wondering. We're wondering. You can tell I got the shits because I didn't even say, g'day, guys. How you doing? I hope you guys have been good. I'm back because I got the shits about the transfer window. I've been gone because there's been nothing to report, guys. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm about to swear, but I'm not. I'm going to hold back for a bit. I'm going to calm myself down. It's going to be all right. It's going to be good. But I'm losing it because right now, Arsenal are the only top four fucking team, Nemesis 4, bugger it, who is doing bugger all in the transfer window. But let's talk Šeško. Let's talk this wonderful player, Šeško. And let's talk about Akpos, my guy, who's going to be chatting Šeško today. Hopefully he can sort out his camera issues, but it's all right. I know everybody's wondering about what's going on with this fucking great transfer news, what's been happening in the background, but let's break it down. I'm going to break it down in the nitty-gritty. So what have I been hearing in the grapevine? What have I been hearing? All right, let's go. DWTT in the building. Hello. How you doing, bro? I hope you're doing good. Thanks for joining me. I know it's been a minute, but thank you for joining me, my guy. Thank you for joining me. Akpos, still working out his deals and bits and pieces. But hey, look, guys, Benjamin Šeško to Arsenal. Great stuff. Am I enthused about Benjamin Šeško to Arsenal? No, not really. But it's okay. It's all right. If this is the goal we're going to get, fair enough. Duncan Castles comes out. Journalist, comes out and says, you know what? I'm hearing a little bit of this and that and chatter about this Benjamin Sesko saga, right? And apparently, good old Benji, right, has come out and said, you know what? Before I sign on a dotted line, right, you know what I'd like? I'd like a release clause in my contract. Okay, cool, right? But I want that release clause to be only 20% more than what you pay for me from RB Leipzig. Really? So you're going to tell us what the hell your release clause is going to be so you can come in and come out like you want? Come on now. If that doesn't, like, come on, Akpos, you know, you're coming into and you want to come and sign for Arsenal Football Club. You're coming from the shit. Your team is shit. Okay, so we're going to blame your shit turnout with your 13 goals or whatever it is in the Bundesliga and 5 assists because your team is shit. But then, because you're in a shit team, you want to come over to a team, right, that has been second in contention for the Premier League, and you want to make that kind of a friggin' deal with Arsenal. And I'm sorry, but I possibly forgot to ask you, how you going, mate? You going all right?
Well, I'm doing good. Good to be back on the channel again. Big up to everybody. I've missed it. Been on the channel and talking about Arsenal. So, but good to be back on the channel. I'm doing good. I'm excited about today's show. I know a lot of Arsenal fans out there. I've been talking about this transfer windows and their expectation and what they're expecting the club to do out there. But onto this show, like you've rightly started the show with all the points and all the intro on. It's going to be strictly all things Benjamin Sesko. So I know it's going to be a great one. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Man, it's always a pleasure. If I'm going to sit here and talk about a player, I'm going to have to have Akpos on. Because look, on this channel, we're going to call it straight. Regardless if I like Šeško or I don't, I'm going to call it straight. If he's a wonderful player and I don't like him, fair enough. But I'm still going to say he's a wonderful player. I just don't fancy the bloke. I don't think he's good enough for Arsenal, whatever it is. But I'll be honest with you here. I'm not in awe right now of Benjamin Šeško to Arsenal. Now, this transfer news that's come out in regards to Šeško might be the reason why this deal, in my opinion, is stalling a little bit and why the Gyökeres chit-chats come in and now Šeško's stalled. Now, guys, I look at Benjamin Šeško and I look at his stats. 13 and 5 in the Bundesliga. A player who's come in with 13 goals, 5 assists in the Bundesliga is coming to, in my opinion, the best team in London right now. Okay? And the most successful team in London, bar none. And he's making a request. Now, Akpos, you tell me what you feel on this. His request, allegedly, is that if he is to move to Arsenal, regardless of what his wages are going to be, that a release clause has to be added into his contract. Now, that is fair enough, in my opinion. I get that. Not a problem. So that way, if it all goes shits uphill, he can move on if the right team comes along. Fair enough.
Yeah.
The demand is allegedly that he wants to set the release clause at only 20% above the price that we pay to purchase him. What are your feelings on this? Because I'm outraged.
Well. For me, I think I would take that with a pinch of salt. I'll take that with a pinch of salt because I don't want to believe like a club that is as massive as Arsenal would be very naive, would be very dumb to accept terms like that from a potential player who is not among the best in the world. Because let's say if you have a Kylian Mbappe, for example, then you would want to, I think a player who has got a massive CV or who has done a lot in their career, you would want to, go into the negotiation table with that player because of what they have achieved, because of the resume they are putting on the table. But for me, for a Benjamin Sesko, I don't think those kind of terms are really untenable because I think Arsenal should be the one. I think Sesko needs Arsenal more than Arsenal actually needs Sesko, in my opinion, because I've debated this Sesko, Gyökeres, Isak, Osimhen. The debate for me has been a long one. I think from last summer when we were linked with Benjamin Sesko, I've been saying it at the top of my voice that I don't think Benjamin Sesko is the one for Arsenal. Not because I think he's a bad player, no, but I think there are actually levels to it because I think what we need right now is a player who could hit the ground running. So I think those kind of terms are not untenable because let me use Barcelona, for example. Barcelona have signed a couple of players that they put the price tag on. But if you notice with how they put the price tag, they leave it at £1 billion. It's not a realistic value, but it's a value that puts them on the front foot, a value that puts the club on the safer side. Because I think when they extended the contract for a couple of their players, they make sure that if the player wants a release clause, they just put the arbitrary figure of £1 billion there. If any club wants to, actually sign this player, they need to be in negotiation. They need to be in talks with Barcelona, and Barcelona could come up with their particular valuation of the player. So I don't like the idea of a player wanting to, value what they could potentially be worth in the next couple of years, because this club is actually taking risk in putting a lot of money in that transfer. So what happens if the player eventually go on and flop at the end of the day? Because that transfer clause would only be activated if the player, reach the ceiling or go above the ceiling that the club would be expecting that this player would get to in the next couple of years. So what would happen in a situation where you sign this player and this player goes on to flop at your club? Then it puts you at a very disadvantageous position. So I think it would be a very dumb deal for Arsenal to do, to agree to such terms. For me, I don't think any player whatsoever should put the evaluation. I think the club who is putting in a lot of money into this transfer has got that advantage to make their own valuation of the player, because right now Arsenal wants to pay what's it called? RB Leipzig would want Arsenal to pay the evaluation of the player, not the valuation of Benjamin Sesko. So Arsenal would also need to agree terms with RB Leipzig. So if tomorrow, let's say Real Madrid or Barcelona wants to come knocking on Arsenal's door for Benjamin Sesko, why would the transfer fee then be on Sesko's table to decide? So for me, I think that's all bullshit. I would take that with a pinch of salt, and I would not think Arsenal would want to be a party of that madness. So it's a good thing that there are other options also on the market. But I know it's the Benjamin Sesko deal, but I think Arsenal would be smart enough and brilliant enough, if that's what he wants, if that would be the only condition for the deal to actually go through, I would expect Arsenal to pull out from that deal. That's the way I say it.
Honestly, I couldn't agree more. See, this move for Benjamin Šeško and not for other strikers. I'm not going to get into the other strikers because that's going to be a show that me and you are going to do very soon. And what I mean very soon, more than likely tomorrow, where we're going to sit there and chit-chat about news about Gyökeres. So Gyökeres is coming. I'm not going to play about Gyökeres now. I'm going to make this the Šeško ordeal. The next one I do on Benjamin Šeško is if he signs. I'm not going to go any further with this fool. So I look at Benjamin Šeško and I think to myself, if Arsenal moving on Benjamin Šeško, it's about the future. All right. You buy a player like Benjamin Šeško at the chance that he could be a Robin van Persie, right? So there's a chance that you can recoup some money or if not, make some money, right? And now you set the price. Now look at William Saliba. Let's take William Saliba for an example. If he had a release clause, much like Benjamin Šeško might be asking for, allegedly asking for, Saliba would be at Real Madrid right now. He'd be there because they'd come in, they'd pay the release clause, and then they would be throwing money at him like you wouldn't believe. And in the end, he would fold. Most players would just fold. They would absolutely fold. So the thing is, if we're buying Šeško now, we're buying him right now for what we might do in the future, then the idea will be to hopefully get as much as we possibly can in any sort of deal going forward. Now, I don't think Arsenal would agree to these terms, hence the reason why they're looking around at the possible transfers. Yeah. This comment below from Tunde Spice, thank you for throwing this out there. One, Šeško is good, but not for Arsenal right now. He needs to learn. To my fear is for the pressure on him, and it will be like Nicola Pepe. It's a possibility because coming from a different league into the Premier League, it isn't like FIFA. You can't just come in and you got the stats and boom, you hit the ground running. Definitely, it's going to take time for him to transition. Now, many a player, not just him, Gyökeres as well, is going to take time. But when you go from, and I think you'd agree, when you go from Benjamin Šeško, 13 goals and 5, right? In the Bundesliga, and you've got Gyökeres, who I'm not going to break stats down because that's not for him now. That'll be tomorrow, right? Who's at a higher ceiling. It's highly likely for a player who's a little bit older with a better stat pack to be able to hit the ground running at Arsenal. Now, this move for Benjamin Šeško, this continual move for Benjamin Šeško right now from Arsenal, screams to me of it's a project. We're hopefully going to be in and amongst the mix for the next few years. Not we're winning the league next year, or this season, coming. But we want to stay in the mix and hopefully build towards winning the league. Because you're signing a 22-year-old striker as your number 1, your number 9, who isn't proven in the Premier League, and in my opinion, is not proven in the bloody Bundesliga. Now, this honestly screams of trust the process. It's a project. 5-year honestly, Akpos, does this scream we're going for the league this season? Or does this scream of 4th place as a trophy?
Well, I think this move just defines it defines how I feel about the club right now, because I think it's a little bit of a spillover of what we saw happen on the winter transfer window, where we saw that there was an opportunity for the club to potentially go out there and bring more help in terms of the attacking side of the field, because the team was clearly screaming for attacking reinforcement, but we saw that the club did not really show ambition during the winter transfer window, and a lot of us were able to swallow that bitter taste in our mouth a little bit, because we were expecting the club to come out there in this summer transfer window and put up a show, put up a statement that would tell the oppositions that, yes, we are ready to win the league. We are ready to win the big trophies. So for me, a move for Benjamin Sesko does not scream like a very ambitious one, does not show that this club wants to win the big trophies out there. Because if you look at some of the strikers that are readily available in today's market at this time of this stream right now, they are better quality in today's market compared to Benjamin Sesko. There's Victor Osimhen out there. Yes, I want to blow my countryman's trumpet. I want to be that, a little bit biased with it. If they would say that's the Nigerian in me talking. But yes, our people would say person no go talk say mama soup no sweet. So let me talk about Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen just had a fantastic season over there at Galatasaray. 37 goals in 41 games. And that is screaming for the top clubs in Europe to come and get me. And I've been saying it. If we had signed Victor Osimhen last summer transfer window, I think we would potentially have won the league. Because if you look at the difference when we had the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz out injured, I think Victor Osimhen would have done so much, would have done a job for us. So in my opinion, I think like the club need to go out there and make a very ambitious statement in this transfer window. And Sesko is not that statement for me, because I think Victor Osimhen out there is a striker who has proven that he could do it in different leagues. He did it with Napoli, where he scored 26 goals to spearhead the team's Scudetto win. I think that was their first win in over how many years since the last one during the later days. So I think Arsenal need to go out there and bring in a better number 9. But Benjamin Sesko, for me, it's not an ambitious one. There's Victor Osimhen out there who I think is a striker who raises the level immediately from day one. He's a striker who comes with that winning the league experience. Because one of the issues that I think we have in today's Arsenal team is the fact that we lack players who could potentially turn the game around when we need them to. Our only go-to guy is Bukayo Saka. And we know that when Saka has his off days or when he's injured, the team really struggle for goals. So a player like Victor Osimhen, who has been in a championship winning side for multiple clubs now, knows what it takes, to win a league title. It comes with that experience. It comes with that hunger. It comes with that know-how of doing it over a long period of time. So I think Osimhen is a better fit for Arsenal right now. If we really want to win the league next season, if we really want to go out there and better what we did in the UEFA Champions League last season by going to the semi-finals and going all the way to the final, this is the player who has got the European experience also. That's one. So let's talk about Victor Gyökeres, in my opinion. What Victor Gyökeres did last season for Sporting Lisbon was just a testament of how he has grown as a player. Yes, some people want to say, yes, he's a late bloomer. He's not one of those guys who started doing it very early. But we have also seen in the Premier League what late bloomers could potentially do. We saw it with Jamie Vardy and that Leicester team. So for me, I don't think that's really an excuse, because if we can bargain a good deal for Victor Gyökeres, we can get at least a minimum of 3 to 4 years top quality performance from this striker. So Victor Osimhen and Victor Gyökeres, for me, these guys are strikers who are at today's time are way better than Benjamin Sesko for me. They come with the experience. They come with that quality in terms of goal. They come with, that. I think these guys are players who are better suited to face the pressure we'll be facing next season, because next season will be a high pressure season. Mikel Arteta is already under a lot of pressure, in my opinion. So I think we need to go out there and bring in a striker that will make this job a little bit more easier for us. And I don't think Benjamin Sesko is the man. I don't think Benjamin Sesko is an ambitious one from Arsenal. I think this is pretty much like a move the Chelsea owners would do. This is pretty much like the Chelsea transfer template right now, where they go for younger players that have resale value that they could potentially, if they want to sell in the next couple of years, the club, the value will be appreciating instead of depreciating. But that is just one angle to the game. What about the commercial value also? Let's say Arsenal go out there and sign a Victor Osimhen. I think Victor Osimhen has a bigger commercial value compared to Benjamin Sesko. The amount
marketing Osimhen or Lookman even, right, would be they'd be more highly rated. You'll be able to bring in a lot more revenue with those two names.
Exactly.
Well-known names.
Exactly. So for me, I think that's also one angle, because now I think a lot of people are running with the resale value and all of that. But when it comes to the finances, that is only one angle of it. We also need to look at the other angle. How much amount of merch would Benjamin Sesko sell if Arsenal potentially signs him, for example, compared to a Victor Osimhen, compared to a Victor Gyökeres, in my opinion? I think these guys have got better commercial value also. That's something we also need to put into the consideration what we are talking about the potential striker. So, but for me, I will wrap it up with the fact that if the club feels Benjamin Sesko is the man for us, because this is also something that I've discussed with you about. I think to be on the safer side, if we want to sign a striker like Benjamin Sesko, to give him some more time, to adapt in a new environment, to adapt in a title challenging side, I think we need to go out there and bring in two strikers, in my opinion. One striker should be a very expensive striker, maybe not for a big fee. Somebody that could, potentially come in and do the job if Sesko is having a difficult time to settle in the first part of the season. Because for me, I would not rely on Gabriel Jesus. So I think I would say right now, if we sign one striker, we'll have just two strikers in Kai Havertz and Benjamin Sesko. Because last season, at the start of the season, we also talked about this, that it would be a big risk for us to rely on Gabriel Jesus, knowing his injury history. So in my opinion, if you want to sign a Benjamin Sesko, as a club who really want to compete for the big trophies, you need another more experienced striker to potentially come in. Let's say, let me just put out a name out there. Let's say if you want to sign Benjamin Sesko, bring in Watkins also. I think Watkins is somebody who is experienced in the division, somebody who knows we've got goals in him. So if Sesko is not able to hit the ground running, Watkins can come in at that early stage of the season and begin to do a job for us until Sesko will settle in. So that's the way I see it. I don't think Sesko is the ambitious move to make right now. I think that is more a club trying to play safe in terms of their so-called investment in the transfer window. And I don't think that is where we currently are right now. We are at a spot where we need to take more risk, a spot where we need to bring in more players for the now. I think our main focus should be for the now and not be on the future, in my opinion.
The situation as it sits at the moment, and I'm going to jump into these comments in a second, is we have been consistently knocking on the door of the Premier League. Now, I know the gap between us and Liverpool was vast in the last season, but that shows the gaps in our squad, and we were able to keep up. Manchester City, guys, Manchester City have had a wonderful window so far. They have gone through and made sure that they can sticky tape and band-aid their squad. So next season when they come in, they're going to be serious. Liverpool aren't mucking around. Florian Wirtz is moving over. That's big money, £100 million for him. Arsenal Football Club need to think about now. Or are we going to be in Arsene Wenger settings? Guys, I'm going to jump into these comments really quick. BX Gunner, man, it's been a while. I hope you're doing good. He's signing Sesko to start on the left alongside Kai up the middle. Yeah, cool story. All I can say is if he's doing that, then that will be the sword that Mikel Arteta falls on. And it will be great to watch him do it. Big up, everyone. Big up, Ryan. I hope you're doing good. Harvey in the building. Do you watch cricket? No, can't do it. I can't do it. I can't watch cricket. Warren from Warren's Team Talk asks me the same thing. Why don't you watch cricket? Not doing it. Can't do it. VX Gunner comes in. Look at this. Agrees with you, Akpos. He's saying Osman is a perfect striker. But Arsenal would never show that ambition. And you know what? He's 100% right. He's 100% right. They're not going to go for that kind of a player. They're not going to go for the player that fits the mold now. They're not going to make the noise that they need to make. And I agree with that. Big up Ryan's Arsenal. Hit the likes, people. If you could, hit the likes. Maybe try and subscribe. We're trying to hit that 1K. If you can, guys, I forgot to put the link in the description. But Football in Pigeon, that is Akpos's channel. Jump on his channel. Hit a couple of likes on him. Maybe hit the subscribe. If you could, it'll be much appreciated. Really would. And what we got? Osman finishes his dinner in a box. Guaranteed. Now, I know there's been attitude issues and discussions about Yay, and he's a bit of a character, but we lost Aubameyang and Lacazette and never replaced them. If we're still going to run away from all these characters and all these potential quality strikers, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, that was one that Arsene Wenger decided not to, right? I don't do tryouts. And what happened there? Then we're never going to have that prolific player. We can't be going around expecting another Thierry Henry to walk in and just, boom, he's ready to rumble. It's not going to happen, guys. I swear, it's not going to happen. We're dreaming. We're bloody dreaming for that shit. Lookman and Osman. And I would agree. Lookman has had a great season. Osman has had a great season. If you get those two, Akpos, what do you reckon? If you got those two, if we got those two into the squad, shut the gate. Shut the gate.
Bro,
You
I
put those
think
two into Arsenal. Shut the gate.
if we
Shut the
get
gate.
those two into the club, we have a formidable front three, in my opinion. A front three that will go anywhere and defenders will tremble. And it will be a thing of joy because Osimhen and Lookman already have this understanding that they've been building from the national team. So it will be interesting to see how they will try to replicate it at club football. Osimhen holds on to the ball. Lookman knows what to expect, and when Lookman is on the ball, Osimhen, knows what to expect. So I think it would be a very interesting one if we could, pull up something like that. But I really realistically, I don't see it happening, though, in my opinion.
Man, honestly, neither do I. But it would be a dream. No, Kane, big ups, man. Long time, been a while. Hope you'll be back for good next season on more consistent basis. I would love to be consistent, but I'm doing the best I can. My days now start Aussie time for work at 6 a.m. So I'm a 6 a.m. now, and you guys won't believe this, but I'm in the gym at 2 a.m. So I'm going to do the best I can to be here. And yes, I was at work at 6:30 in the morning today. And I was training guys to box as well this afternoon. So I'm real busy, but you know what? It was something that me and Akpos discussed and we've been trying to do, and I'm going to try to keep it consistent. Stay tuned because Gyökeres will be tomorrow. Gyökeres, I'm talking Gyökeres tomorrow. Me and Akpos are going to break down Gyökeres tomorrow because that's one that me and him are really looking forward to. That's one that we really need to discuss because I'm telling you, he is a player beyond. But anyway, here we go. Here we go. You're always great boy. From the sources, it just seems Gyökeres has given a verbal agreement to join. So personal terms isn't an issue. For Sesko, last 2 years, no personal terms agreed, and his agent doesn't help either. Now, this is true. Gyökeres apparently has agreed personal terms, but Sporting Lisbon are not happy with what we're offering. Sporting are asking for a lot of moolah. So Arsenal now move forward on Gyökeres and decide we'll come back and see if we can talk to Šeško. Now, like we were talking, what we mean, Akpos were discussing before, and think about this one, was Arsenal are looking at both these players and they're thinking about the future and resale value. Just like when we signed Kai Havertz, we signed him for the future and resale value. You know what I mean? Like, you know how much we'll get for him right now? Hey. Ah. Ah. Oh my God. Who do I prefer? Obviously, Gyökeres. Akpos, who do you prefer?
Well, I think some of the things I've been saying earlier on the stream gives it all out. I think Neil, I'll be very straightforward with this one. I do prefer Gyökeres for me because I think this is the player that lifts up the level in that number 9 position at this very moment in time. So for me, I think that's what we should be very focused on. A player who walks into the door, and we know we have got a player that once he is true on goal, potentially 2 out of at least 1 out of 2 times he's going to put the ball on the back of the net. I think players like strikers like Gyökeres fits that bills for me. So Gyökeres is the better one for me all day long.
We're both screaming Gyökeres right now. Michael Harris has said, subscribe to you both. Big up. Thank you very much, Michael. Really appreciate that. Big season ahead. Have a which way the coin drops, mate. Bloody oath. Bloody oath. And you know what? Look, we do the business, guys. We do the business properly this season, and we could be back up there chit-chatting and this and that, right? We don't do the business properly this season. I hate to say it. It ain't going to be shits and giggles. It's going to be tears. No laughter from the opposing teams. I swear. They're going to be pissing themselves laughing at what's going to happen to Arsenal. We're going to crumble without the right recruitment. BX is back. Do we have one? Oh, God. Do we have one attacker that can even attempt the overhead bicycle kick? I haven't seen it. We're dead in attack and predictable and systematic. To be honest, we do not have players of that pedigree. We don't. And under this manager, you won't find a player like that. So the kind of player that you are kind of describing is the unpredictable Zlatan, the unpredictable Wayne Rooney. those kind of players would never be signed by Mikel Arteta, in my opinion. I don't know about you, Akpos, but do you know where I'm coming from? Like the kind of player that Mikel kind of goes for, in my opinion, is a systematic player, a player who can play a system, play a position, and play to the rule. I just don't think he's looking for those guys that express themselves. What do you think?
I totally agree with you, and I think this is one of the issues I also have with Mikel's master in Pep Guardiola. I think most of his students has also got the same issues because
Yeah,
I would not take it away from Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola for me is the best manager in the world right now. Let me say it out there. If some would want to argue one of the best, but for me, I think is the best out there right now. But the main issue that I have with him is the fact that he wants a lot of control in his team, and that takes a little bit of creativity, a little bit of flair, a little bit of that unpredictability from some players who want to do it, out of who has got that magic in them to do it out of nowhere, on single-handedly. Because I think you're talking about the Mikel Arteta wanting players that plays to a system because he wants control. They want to coach each and almost every sequence of the game, because that's also one of the issues Pep has had with some of his players. Let me use Riyad Mahrez, for example. That was one of the issues we had with Riyad Mahrez. Beautiful player to watch. You know that Mahrez wants to play with more flair, but Pep wants more control. And Pep has just signed another player that I think potentially we could be seeing some issues in 1 year or the next couple of years in Ryan Cherki.
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if you've seen Ryan.
He's not. He's not easy, Ryan. He's not. He's got attitude.
Exactly. And I don't know if you've seen his interview where he was talking about he feels like players are not taking enough risk, that he wants to take more risk. He wants to, make the game even more excited for the young ones, for the fans. And when I was listening to him talk about that, I was like, do you really want to play for Pep Guardiola and you want to play this way? And that's also a problem with Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta wants control. He wants to coach every sequence of the game. That's why players who would, want to do it out of that moment of magic, that who want to play with that flair, would definitely have problem playing with Mikel Arteta, because he wants to control. He wants the control. He wants to coach it because he has a certain way he expects his team to play. So I think this is also the reason why we've not seen the club go out there to get a certain profile of players who can play with flair, players who are very unpredictable. So I think it's a Mikel Arteta problem, and this is something he needs to fine tune if he really wants to go out there and achieve a lot of things in his managerial career. Mikel, I have my issues with him. I want him gone right now, but I still think he's a very brilliant coach. He's a very, he's a good coach. The problems I have with him are more on the managerial side of things, because I think to be a good manager, you should be able to manage different character of people and bring them in one room and be able to sell your ideas to these guys, and these guys will be willing to agree to your working agreement to achieve this set of goals for your team. So Mikel has not been able to show that he's willing to work with certain character of people. But for me, a good manager should be able to bring every character, no matter how difficult you think that person is to work with. But that's what sets you apart as a top manager. That's why I would personally not classify Mikel as a top manager. I would say he's a very brilliant coach. But in terms of managing, I think is average right now. But he needs to really improve on that moving forward in his career.
Oh, look, I couldn't agree more. A football coach, yes. A football manager, no. A demotion required, bloody oath. If he hasn't been demoted, he should be. He should be sitting there and just coaching. Horses for courses, as they say. Horses for courses. Now, this is a very good point. You're always great boy. This window is not about PSR, because Arsenal have a better PSR than Liverpool. It's about selling players, managing overall squad wages, etc. We can spend upwards of £200 million if done right. Now, here's a fun fact. I'm a kind of person, I'm a numbers person. I don't know if many people know that, but I love looking at numbers. So last season, real quick, let's just break it down. Moreno and Calafiori came in. We lost ESR, we lost Ramsdale. And
Eddie.
we made a little bit, and Eddie as well. A little bit of money made. We could say on those three players, we pulled in about £60 million, £60 to £70 million at most. Okay. Now, if you look at the Marino and the Calafiori deal, that was pretty much a swap for those players. Those two players pretty much cost us what we didn't transfer. So that means that year's profits weren't spent. Now, what do Arsenal average in profits per year? You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. But when I'm talking the accumulation of £700 million was made last season just finished, with expenses of about 200 million. That's how much money Arsenal made last season. The previous season to that, it was just under £700 million, right? So us spending £200 million a season on players isn't an issue. So in my opinion, I want my 200 from the previous season and my 200 now. That pulls 400 out my rear end, and I want to see my money. Because you can't sit there and tell me, oh, we ain't got cash. Oh, I'm sorry, baby, sweetheart, darling, honey. We're making the money. We are making the money. The club is currently worth close to what? 3.4 billion USD? Come on now. We've got the money. We can spend the money. But the idea at the moment is I think it's scary for the owners to try to invest in this club any further with this manager. So I think they're walking on eggshells when it comes to Mikel Arteta and the moves we make. Hence the reason why Berta is here. But let's see what Birdie me is going to be doing for me and you and every Arsenal fan. Because right now, all he's doing is window shopping. And you go red light district and you window shop, eventually you're going to get a slap. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean, boys? Was the news about us freezing our pursuit on Gyökeres actually true? I think it may be. Now, could be wrong, but I think because of what Lisbon's asking prices for Gyökeres, we've kind of hit a wall on that. I'm going to look into it a little bit further, but I'm going to be talking about Gyökeres and Akpos and me. We're going to break down Gyökeres tomorrow, and we're going to break it down nitty gritty. All the news, his stats, who he is, what he's capable of, all tomorrow. Tomorrow around the same time, we will break that shit down. We will definitely break that shit down. One more comment here. How long has Arteta been on 15 mil a year? Insane wages. What do you reckon, Akpos? 15 mil a year for this man.
Well. I think all of these came with how well he did in the first couple of years during his reign. Right now, I don't think he's giving us our money worth. I think he needs to do so much better, and we are expecting him to do a better job in terms of managing our players, in terms of squad rotation, in terms of keeping our best players fresh for most part of the season. So let's see what's going to happen. But with respect to the manager, just like I want him gone now, but that decision is not for me to make at the end of the day. So, but if he's going to be at the club for this season, I want him to succeed. I want him, to do his best. I want him to do better in the areas where I think that is currently lacking or lagging behind right now. So let's see what's going to happen with Mikel. I hope this season is going to do so much better.
Look, honestly, Mikel succeeds at Arsenal, I'm happy. I don't care who manages my club. I really don't care. I don't care if it's Krusty the Clown, like I've said it a million times. We win the league. I don't care who runs the club. I don't care. I don't care if it's Josh Kroenke wins us the league. He decides to be the coach. I don't care. I don't care as long as we can win the league. And for me, it's league. It'll always be league. And a lot of people say Champions League. No. League. Me, it's Premier League first, Champions League second. Not that, because you haven't won a Champions League. It's never been that way. It's always Premier League first. I'm sorry, guys. That's me. Could be different for everyone else, but that's me. BX Gunner comes in and says, Cherky gives me Ribery vibes. Ribery? Attitude, maybe. Quality? Just maybe not. I think you mean attitude, but not the quality, right? Because Ribery was wonderful. I'd take Ribery now if he had the legs.
In terms of quality, I think Cherky is going to be a beautiful player to watch. I know he's going to an opposition team, but this is a player that me personally, I think with Arsenal, if you've loved watching Arsenal in the Wenger days, where we had a lot of flair players, creative players, you would think a player like Ryan Cherky, for example, would cook in the Arsenal system. So I think this is the kind of player that I think we need to go out there and bring in especially in our number 10 position moving forward. We lack players who are that creative, players who play more on the attacking side. I think on the defensive side, we are very balanced right now. I think we need to go out there and also mix it up a little bit. So Cherokee, for me, I think that's one player I think we need to watch out for in the next couple of years. If he can balance his, wanting to be on the ball, wanting to attack with the defensive responsibility, I think the Premier League has got a potential gem in their hands to watch out for in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think he looks like he's going to be a player that is going to get them a lot of money. If it comes to a sale, they're going to recoup a shit ton.
I agree.
Michael Harris says Pep started this all about me on the touchline. You are spot on. That exactly. Oh, I want to highlight that and put that on a billboard, Michael. All about their ego. When a goal is scored, it's about because of their system and their coaching, and not down to the player's individuality. Now, look, I will give the coach credit. Right, for the system and everything. But at the end of the day, for a player to finish their dinner, it ain't easy. It isn't. It isn't as simple as, it's all in the back of the net. You know what I mean? So 100%. Mikel, it feels as if he's really fed off that. And the reason why he wants so much control, it's as if he wants to be back on the pitch again. And the problem with Mikel was, even when he was on the pitch, he wasn't that good. Like, come on now. I remember when he signed from Everton, my mate goes to me, what do you think of Mikel Arteta? I went, off the bench, maybe. That was back then. I go, off the bench, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with him. Guy was an antique when we signed him, an antique. Had his best years at Arsenal. I'm a big Arsenal fan. You spent most of your career at Everton, man. Get the hell out of here, bro. Get out. Get out. BX Gunner, Arteta is losing us money by his poor player management. Players walking for nothing or next to nothing has damaged our reputation in the transfer market. Now, yes, the Emi Martinez situation, the Guendouzi situation, the Aaron Ramsdale £15 million situation, Tavares, Marquinhos, Zinchenko's half price, Jesus will be half price.
Partey now.
Yeah. Now Partey's walking. Partey, apparently, remember, me and you, we heard Partey's pretty much going to sign. Remember when we heard that? Remember? You know what I'm talking about. He's pretty much going to sign it, guys. Don't worry about it. If you're watching,
exactly.
Josh.
Exactly. And I think this comment from BX Gunner is spot on. This also has a lot to do with Gaspar Edu. I know he's not here right now, but it also it also has to do a lot with him, because we should have secured Thomas Partey when we.
Oh, I think you cut out there, Akpos.
The Amory's WhatsApp group or something. Someone was saying it on one of these WhatsApp group I was in, that we should have secured Thomas Partey on a longer contract as soon as we noticed Declan.
I think we're having a connection issue here. Akpos, I think you've just had a little bit of a connection issue. Yeah, Akpos has frozen, guys. And I think what Akpos was trying to say is we should have been trying to secure Thomas Partey a lot earlier than presently. We shouldn't have allowed his contract to run so far down to the point where, unfortunately, we're now stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, we have been good at keeping our contracts at bay and keeping our players in the right position when it comes to moving them on or keeping them. It just seems like this was mismanagement in regards of Arsenal when it came to Thomas Partey. Now, the issue that you have here is if you're thinking about the future and you're thinking about Thomas Partey and you're thinking about all these players, you're thinking more about, okay, I'm losing Jorginho, I've got Partey, I'm going to be getting in Zubi, cool. Now you lose Partey, and now you've got another problem in the midfield. Honestly, the Partey situation, it ain't no Partey, guys. It's pretty fucked up. And unfortunately, we're going to be in the market for a midfielder, regardless of how close we hold our cards to our cards to our chest. One more. What do we got here? Rickman, thoughts on a left wing to bring in? Some names I have are Barcola, Liao, Lukman, Gordon, Barcola. You got me on that one. You got me on the first one. Liao, I don't know. Lookman, yeah. Barcola and Lookman, I'd think about. Now, I know age. I don't care about age anymore. With Lookman, I don't care. Horses for courses, come to the table, do a job. I don't care. Trossard wasn't young when he came in. And to be honest, Trossard has been more impactful at his time at Arsenal off the bench than Martinelli has, in my opinion. And Martinelli's younger. So, yeah, bro. Lookman, Barcola. Can we do it? Hell yeah. We're the Arsenal Football Club. We got the money. Why not? Why not? Luca talks ball. Hey guys, come on, you Gunners. Big up, Luca. Come on, Arsenal. We need signings, man. Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. Is this a free call-in show? No, it's not. But I'm gonna think about doing that maybe tomorrow on the Jokeres on the Jokeres chit chats. Tomorrow's show is gonna be about Jokeres. I might do that as a call-in. So hey, keep yourselves posted for that one. I'm gonna put the I'll chuck the I've got the whatchamacallit, the thumbnail all done, and I'll chuck it up there, and maybe I'll make it a call-in show. How long? Lucas says, long time. How are you? I'm pretty good, bro. I'm pretty good. Busy. Business is good, but business is busy. You know, I'm busier than Arsenal Football Club. I'm actually getting shit done. Arsenal Football Club, window shopping, red light district. Barcola would be my ideal left wing. Seville midfielder Lucina Gomi is also French. It's time to make Arsenal French again. You know what? Honestly, there are some decent French players out there, but in my opinion, honestly, Barcola would be great. He'd be perfect on the left-hand side. Jokeres down the middle would be wonderful, in my opinion. Compliment. Definitely compliment. We lose one of the two left wingers we have, and I'm hoping Martinelli so we can make some money. And we've got ourselves a decent left-hand side. Then we can focus on not re-injuring Saga. And here is my guy. Akpos back in the building. We're talking a little bit about left wing, and my opinion, and I couldn't agree with this more, but Barcola is a player that I rate highly. And I thought would probably be a player, or Lookman, because we had a really good comment there as well. I like the guys in the chat right now. You guys, honestly, man, us Arsenal fans, man, cut from the same cloth. Watch this. Thoughts on left wings to bring in Barcola, Lookman, and I'm like, Barcola, yes. Liao, not interested.
Yeah.
Lookman, yes. Gordon, maybe, right? And I'm like, dude, I couldn't agree with that more. Like, dude, this is, and it's doable. It's doable. But the issue we have right now is our number 9. Šeško at the moment, in my opinion, if this news coming out in the news right now is true, that Šeško is requesting to name his fee in his release clause that's going to be in his apparent contract, then I believe that the discussions between Arsenal and Šeško would have stalled. And Akpos, I think you reiterated the fact earlier that the two parties won't come to terms with that. Usually, usually when it comes to a release clause, it's very high. In many cases, high enough for us to see a decent windfall. 20% on top of what we've paid would be a basic interest rate, which Arsenal wouldn't agree to. Now, this might open the eyes of Berta once again to start knocking on the doors of his other targets. So I believe, in my opinion, that at the moment, when it comes to Šeško, if this news that we have heard only 3 hours ago is true, that we're going to be stalling on another number 9. And I'm having a hard time as an Arsenal fan at the moment, and it feels as if we're moving for one position at a time. When we have multiple positions to fill, we seem to be moving at one position at a time. We're not ordering a Big Mac meal. No, we're ordering the Big Mac. Then we're ordering the fries. Then we're ordering the sauce. Then we're ordering the nuggets. Then we're ordering the Coke. Then we're ordering the ice. Then we're getting the straw, and we're doing it in this manner. And by the time we get our food, it's cold. It's bloody cold. And that's how it's feeling right now as an Arsenal fan. Very cold, very dry, tasteless. And the longer we continue in this manner, in my opinion, the longer we stall, we're going to be missing out on quality players that are going to be available, are going to become unavailable. And this is where I think, again, it's going to come to the owners, a sporting director, and if Mikel has any play in it, to take a little bit of the blame. And next season could fall on its sword if we keep playing this game so slow. But that's my opinion. I mean, I don't know right now when it comes to Šeško. I honestly believe, and I don't know about you, Akpos, but if this news is true, I believe we're going to stall on Šeško.
Well, I totally agree with you because I think that would be madness if we would want to do a deal like that. I don't think those terms are untenable. So I think I like I said earlier, I want to take that with a pinch of salt because I know that Arsenal would never do a deal like that. So because from the way it's looking, the way it's looking right now, and some of the sources we've listened to and we've heard, it seems like it's going to be Benjamin Sesko, in my opinion. But if that madness is true, by every means possible, then I'll be the happiest Arsenal fans. Just I know you also will be very happy if we would pull out from the Sesko deal and would want to go for any of the other strikers out there who we think right now these guys are better quality and a better fit for Arsenal and players who could potentially increase the quality in that number 9 position right now. So for me, if that madness is true, I will be excited because that means we would potentially pull out from the deal and go for, let's say, maybe a Victor Gyökeres or a Victor Osimhen, in my opinion.
And I think that is likely now. I think Šeško, in my opinion, is probably believing that Arsenal really are closing in on him. And now he's thinking to himself, well, at 22 years old, the world is my oyster. Unfortunately, if you're 22 years old and you had 20 league goals, for RB, then maybe your world would be your oyster.
Not even 20 league goals, Steve. 13 league goals. 13 league goals. That's what he had.
He's got 13 and 4 assists, right? 13 and 4. But if he could at least pull 20, then maybe he'd have some sort of, I don't know, bollocks to come to the table and say, well, this is what I expect and this is what I want.
Yeah.
But when you're pulling 13 goals in your respective league and you're wanting to come to Arsenal Football Club, in my opinion, you should be sitting on the bench. You're sitting on the bench. You're not starting.
Bro, I think it's even a debate. It's even a debate on Kai Havertz and Benjamin Sesko, who is even better in my opinion. But I would just want to lean towards Sesko just a little bit for the fact that he has played as a striker all his life. We know that Kai has played in different positions and all of that. So, but for me, I don't think he's that better quality compared to Kai Havertz. So we are not even sure if he's going to start at Arsenal right now, in my opinion. So, but I think the consolation for most Arsenal fans is the fact that we have a proper out-and-out number 9 in Benjamin Sesko.
Yeah, I think we're also getting worn down a little bit. The longer this goes, eventually the Arsenal fans are just going to say, just get us a striker, any striker, and we'll be happy.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to be. So that's the thing. I'm not going to sit there and say, I'll take any striker. Hell no. No. There'll be none of that. No. We bought Kai Havertz for 60 million because old mate thought he could be a striker. And I'm not going to sit here and spend another 70 million on a player who's just as bad as him in order to start Kai Havertz and justify his existence. No, sorry about that. And I don't blame Kai. No, I don't blame Kai for that. I blame the fucktard Mikel Arteta for signing him as a 9. I don't blame Kai for taking the money or coming to Arsenal. And I blame the owners for allowing this fool that much slack on his rope. Now, again, if we're going to be buying players in order to unlock Kai, I'm happy to unlock the cage and let Mikel fly away. See you later, mate. Bye-bye. Nice knowing you. Off you go into the wilderness. Hopefully a cat gets you. Hello, gents. Nick from the WhatsApp chat. I may have to give you a call. Is it a therapy show? No, it's not a therapy show. We're chatting Šeško. We're complaining about the situation that may have arisen. It looks like reports are coming in that Šeško is apparently naming his release clause. So he wants a release clause, allegedly wants a release clause in his contract, and apparently it's going to be 20% of our purchase price. Now, I'm a little bit teed off about that. And at the same time, I don't believe Šeško's the guy. But what do you do? So I'm going to go through a couple more of these comments. I'm not against Šeško or Gyökeres, but Šeško is tall, and I think strong elbow presence. Yes, you're right on that. Yes, he is. He's a big boy. Bloody earth big boy. Very important today's Prem. Yes, Šeško also has the balls to take crazy shots when we need more. Yes. Now, Šeško, this is true about Šeško. Šeško is a bigger player. He's good left or right foot. He is. He's got a decent boot either end. My problem with Šeško is when you watch him play, he doesn't know where to be in a phase. So there's plenty of times when you do watch him play where he should be cutting in and he's hanging out. He's hanging out at the edge of the box, or he's going too close. He's pulling past the winger, out of position. That's the issue I have with him. His positioning isn't the best. Now, look, maybe that can be coached out of him. It probably could be. Maybe. But at the moment, for me, this is the kind of player, in my opinion, you buy both. You'd buy both. You'd buy one to start and one to be a potential starter. You don't buy the younger player who still needs to be ironed out, because I believe he will be a good player. But I don't think he's that guy right now, especially when he's possibly asking for, well, this is going to be my release clause. 20% on top of what we pay for you is going to be your release clause. I'm sorry. If that is the truth, now he thinks he's Billy Big Boots. I'm sorry. If that is the case, I can't accept that. I'll take that from Zlatan. I'll take that from a player who's proven who he is. But not from a player who's, in my opinion, a nobody at the moment. I'm sorry, he's a nobody in his respective league right now. He's just a young up and coming Slovenian player. He could be great, but he could end up like Vlahovic. Vlahovic, once upon a time, was the guy. Vlahovic, we got to get Vlahovic.
Exactly.
And I thought he was a wonderful player too. Vlahovic, Juventus. Hey, what happened to Vlahovic at Juventus? See you later. And who's going for Gyökeres as well? Would it be Juventus?
Exactly, and I think a little bit. This is where some people who are running along with the resale value need to calm down a little bit, because there are always two sides of the coin. Yes, it could potentially go up there, and bang, and his market value would appreciate massively. Yes,
Yeah.
that is one scenario. That's one side of how it could play out. What about the other side? You bring him potentially on, and it flops, and his market value massively depreciates. We also saw what United did by signing Rasmus Højlund, because Højlund was also scouted, and the people who got him, who recommended that signing for Manchester United, thought that Rasmus Højlund would potentially be the next big thing in the next couple of years, because they also were linked with other more proven and experienced strikers, one of who is Harry Kane today. And Manchester United decided to go for the younger striker in Rasmus Højlund, because they thought this guy is going to be big in the next couple of years. But look at Rasmus Højlund now, as his market value not massively depreciated. So I think we also need to look at both sides. Yes, there's one side could play. There's also the other side this deal could potentially, end up being. So, but for me, I think I am worried sometimes where I see young players going for this big fee, because yes, some people has linked this transfer to when we got the greats like Thierry Henry and all of that, but Thierry Henry did not come with a fee that would potentially be this big, because what all of the information we are hearing now, and now the potential release clause and all of that, this is going to be a big transfer, and there's going to be massive pressure that comes along with this big fee for a young player. So that's a little bit of a worry for me with respect to this transfer and this potential signing of Benjamin Sesko.
Excess of 80 million pound. Excess of 80 million pound is what I'm hearing. This is a very good comment, and this is a fact. This is true, and I'll agree with this, because you're right, 100%. Just want to say Leipzig's system hinders Sesko because he plays behind Openda. That's true. Openda scored 20-plus goals in the box last season. Sesko plays as support. Sesko becomes a fox in the box, then gets 20-plus goals. Now, that is a good point. The system that they do play doesn't help him too much. But I understand where you're coming from, but for me, if I'm going to be making this much noise for this player, this much, and I'm going to throw all my eggs in a basket for this player, am I going to bank on it's the system? I don't know. You know, I've seen great players play in systems that don't suit. I've seen Ronaldo score goals in systems that doesn't suit. I've seen Zlatan do the same thing. I've seen Rooney do the same thing. I've seen great strikers do great things. I've seen Harry Kane do it. He's doing it at Tottenham. Shit team. He was still banging them. So, I don't know. 22 years old. Maybe he needs a bit more time to iron out. Maybe he'll be great at Arsenal. Maybe. Yeah, it's a possibility. Definite possibility. But you know what? There was a comment here that says, look, either or, we're going to improve with either Gyökeres or Šeško, and that's a fact. Either one we get, we will improve. But it's about how much we're going to improve with Šeško in comparison to Gyökeres. Now, we can all have our opinions. You're entitled to them. Yeah. And my opinion is based on his output. His output right now isn't something that I'm in awe of. His output is much like Kai Havertz's output at Arsenal. Now, will it be better than Kai Havertz? More than likely. Because, yes, he is a 9, where Kai Havertz is more of a false 9-10. So, I guess we'll see. Here's a funny one. Meanwhile, Jonathan David is a free agent. Tell me about it.
That's what
Dori, tell me about it. Huh? Yeah. And Osman was a free agent. Osman, he was available on loan.
He went on loan.
Yeah, he went on loan. We could have taken him on loan, but we didn't. We didn't waste the time.
And we signed Raheem Sterling instead on the same deadline.
Yeah, he was great. He was wonderful, Raheem. I mean, what a player. Raheem on the left-hand side. My God. Raheem on the right. Raheem on the sideline. Raheem got me a pie. And that was probably the best thing out of Raheem Sterling at Arsenal Football Club. Absolute joke. Oh, my God. Guys, I swear. It was an absolute shit show. But look, guys, I'm going to end this stream here, guys, because I do believe that the Šeško chit-chat has come as far as it's going to go. I do believe, and look, again, these comments here where we can change our formation and we can change our formation to maybe help Šeško. 4-3-3, a lone striker, or much better. Yes, Leipzig eventually will take. Yeah, okay. But what I found with Mikel Arteta is he has his ways of playing his football. His number 9 is going to be a player who can play the ball back. He can play the ball sideways. He's going to come out and defend. You look at Kai Havertz when he plays the 9, you'll notice that Kai Havertz is many a time in the midfield, receiving the ball or defending. So any number 9 that comes to Arsenal is not just going to be sitting up front like Aubameyang and waiting for the ball to land in front of him. He's going to have to have a very high work rate to work the system that Mikel Arteta wants. That's not going to be easy. So I'm hoping that the diva that Šeško may be is going to be more than obliging if it's the guy we get. But in my opinion right now, as it sits, Benjamin Šeško is not the guy for me. He isn't. But that's for me. I'm not the coach. I'm not the manager. But in my opinion, he's not right for me. And I think Akpos is of the same opinion. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think he's the right man, but if it's the one Arsenal is going to bring to the plate, I'm willing to back him. And hopefully he would have a wonderful time at Arsenal and he would bang a lot of goals. That's the way I say it.
Yeah. Look, let's see how we go. But guys, look, if you haven't already subscribed to Akpos's channel, please go ahead and do so. Football in Pigeon. I haven't put the link in because I stuffed up. I was just flying today, but I will put the link in the description after the show. If you haven't subscribed to the Aussie Gunner channel, would appreciate it. Hit the likes, smash them for me a little bit. Maybe get this stream out there. Kicking back 43, 42 in the stream. It's been jumping to 50 to 60 to 70. It's been great. I really appreciate the support. I know it's last minute FC, but I will be back tomorrow to talk Gyökeres. And there is one more player that I wanted to chit-chat about this and that. And it's a player I think Akpos, I haven't talked to him about it yet, but it's a player that's really tickled my fancy, midfielder though, right? That I really would like to see at Arsenal. And he is available And I think he'd make us he'd change our dynamic a little bit. So I want to talk Gyökeres, and then I got one more player up my sleeve that I want to bring into the mix. So you should see us tomorrow chatting Gyökeres. And if you're lucky, maybe on a Monday or a Sunday, we'll be talking one more midfielder. Because to be perfectly honest, we need some creative spark. We need a big creative spark right now in the Arsenal camp, because we ain't got shit right now. But Akpos, please let them know where they can find you, please.
Well, you can always find me on the channel here, and you can also find me on Football in Pidgin. That's if and only if you understand Pidgin, which is a lingua we speak in Nigeria and across West Africa and some part of Central Africa also. So, but you could also find me on the Football Talk Shop, which is my other channel, but I've not been putting out content on there, but potentially as the season starts, I would be doing so much better in terms of the content. But thanks for tuning up to the show today. If you've not subscribed to the channel yet, let's get this channel to the 1K milestone. So thanks everybody. Thanks for having me on the stream, Steve.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you everybody who's joined us today. Thank you for continually supporting the channel. And look, Nyoziguna, everyone out here in Australia who's absolutely freezing right now. Uru guys, uru.